Hello, greetings, world. Hello, hello, hello. Just giving everybody a second to come on in here, come and join. Come on and play. Beautiful. Okay, give me a yes if you can see me, if you can hear me. Let me know that you're here. If you're here later watching this as the replay, seeing this from the very beginning, throw up that hashtag replay and let me know that you were here. Hello, hello, hello. So today we're having a really fun conversation around creating our own reality and how we create our own reality and the role of our stories in creating our own reality. Right now, 2020 has been a year just unfolding in some of the craziest ways possible. Now, we've seen things and dealt with things and faced things that nobody ever would have thought was rolling down the pike for us in this year, right? But here's the kicker. None of what is going on in this year is even about what is going on. So this conversation today is an opportunity to expand your perspective and flip everything we think we know upside down on its head and begin to flip the matrix. Hey Gail, hey Candace, hey everybody who's tuning in live. Good to see you. So as we go through this year, right now, there's a little something happening called ascension. Right? And what does that actually mean? What does ascension actually mean? It simply means that we as physical beings who have existed in a third dimensional reality up until now are moving into higher frequencies, higher realities, higher dimensional realities. And all this has to do with is our vibration and our energetic frequency and how much of our higher frequency selves we can hold in our physical bodies. So the process of ascension involves, in essence, a purge that has to happen, right? Because the same way that if you wanted to go and buy a whole bunch of new clothes, you would have to create some space in your closet, right? Everybody give me a yes if that kind of lands. So right now, in our physical bodies, we are literally being asked to create space to hold more of our high frequency selves in our bodies, our soul selves, right? We are all multidimensional beings. We exist beyond the body. Give me a yes if you agree that there's more to you than what is just this body walking around, right? Or maybe you believe you're just a body walking around, and that's fine. But for many of us, we're very tuned in and aware and tapped into the fact that we exist beyond this place. Now, some of the ways that we connect with existing beyond this physical body is that when we go into meditation or we go into journey space, or we can connect with memories, we can connect with our future selves, we can connect with different timelines, right? So there's a lot of different ways through working with our mind's eye, through working with our visualization, that we can connect actively, visually, viscerally, somatically with the aspects of ourselves that maybe our conscious mind sometimes forgets is there, right? Stay with me. So we're down here in this earth realm and we're cruising through the year 2020 and all of this stuff is happening, right? All of this crazy stuff is happening all around us. And every single thing that is happening is an opportunity, right? It is an opportunity for us to turn our gaze within, look at the things that are happening, look at our reactions or our responses to what is happening, and use every one of these things as a giant mirror to go within and look at our own stories, our own frequencies, our own vibration. What are we holding within our own fields that is contributing to what we're collectively creating? Because you see, as we create reality, we create it for ourselves, but we're also all here co-creating a collective reality, right? And there are a lot of forces that be that would love to manipulate us to keep us into creating the reality that they would thrive in. So each and every one of us has a choice, right? You have to ask yourself, do I want to be a sovereign being who creates my own reality according to what I know to be true? Or do I want to continue to be puppeted and manipulated? Now, I say that not from a place of judgment, right? Every single one of us at some points in our lives have been puppeted and manipulated, whether it's by the matrix, by the system, by the government, whatever, right? All of these things are now, I know, and happy 11/11. Yes, thank you for that reminder, Claire, because it is 11/11. Today is like a super powerful, very potent portal of ascension, right? So there is so much high frequency light powering into the planet right now, right? We are being inundated with high frequency light. Now, this high frequency light, as it comes into our bodies, guess what, right? Like, that's the thing going into the closet that is cleaning out the closet, right? So we're not cleaning out our clothes closet, we're cleaning out our physical bodies. We're preparing our physical vessels to be able to hold more and more and more of our high frequency selves, right? And that's, so Carl, great point, right? Anything that is part of ascension, you hear people talk a lot about ascension symptoms, and part of that is going to be physical, right? Our aches, our pains, our illnesses, our diseases, our imbalances are all going to come flaring up. When these things happen, we have an opportunity to lean in, right? And look at, okay, like, what is this message? What is my body trying to tell me with this? We can have mental ascension symptoms. We can have emotional ascension symptoms, right? Because we're purging. For some people, it's going to be all the physical stuff. For others, it's going to be mental, fear, thoughts, monkey mind. For others, it's going to be emotional, like sadness, anxiety, emotions rising up that they haven't felt in ages. Because our cells, beam me up, Scotty, right? Our cells are releasing all of this stuff. So give me a yes if that resonates with you, right? And I would love to know, which one resonates for you? You know, are you noticing that you're having the physical, the mental, the emotional? Share with me. Drop it in the comments, right? I'll create more trainings around what you're sharing. So everything, here's the kicker, right? This is the gold of today. If nothing else goes with you, but trust that you're already receiving by plugging into this live, whether you're here live or you're hearing this on the replay, you are being... there are frequencies being shared with you. There are things being activated in your field right now as a result of this conversation, right? I'm sharing energy, sharing frequencies, right? So I want you to tune in for a second, and I want you to feel into your body and take notice, be present, right? What are you feeling right now? Maybe you're feeling a tingling in your palms. Maybe you're feeling an opening in your heart center. Maybe it's your third eye. Maybe it's your crown, right? And this is energy coming into your field. These are codes being activated in your field, right? So having said that, this is the kicker, right? This is the gold of today. It's never the thing that is the problem outside of us, right? It's not either presidential candidate. It's not the election. It's not the man who starts with the B or the man who starts with the T, right? It's not this group or that group. It's not this side or that side. It's not the job. It's not the partner or lack of, right? It's our stories about the things. Right now, right? Like, there are people running around on all sides of the equation, handing their power and sovereignty over on a silver platter to things outside of themselves, right? The idea that any one person, whether they're the leader of the free world or not, has the power to directly affect my level of freedom, happiness, and abundance is an illusion. And I know that's going to trigger some people, and that's okay, right? The idea that anybody has the power to make us feel a certain way is an illusion. It's a lie. I understand that when you're in that, it is very real and very believable, right? I don't want to minimize anyone's experience. I know for myself, when I was buying into my own stories about being a victim and not having any power, and I struggled with depression, anxiety, drug addiction, all these things, I had cancer. When I was in my stories around what was possible in life, I believed them. I totally believed them. It was all I knew, right? And my stories kept me safe. But then something happened. And I had an awakening where I started to understand that maybe the things I had been telling myself about life weren't true. And that was like a really big awakening for me. Like, that was the first time, I call it like my walk-in moment. It was like my soul slapped my ego aside and took over my body. And in that moment, I realized that all the things I had been telling myself about life and the way that life worked and who I was and all of it was just not correct. And in that moment of awakening, it cracked me open just enough so that I could start challenging my own stories and challenging my own beliefs, right? That was going on 7 years ago. And in the last 7 years, it's been a hell of a journey of completely shifting my life into a place of living on my terms, right? Freedom, abundance, joy, living my purpose work, living in my soul purpose, teaching others, guiding others, coaching others, creating courses, creating content, living on my terms, traveling, right? Doing what I want to do, living in beautiful health, having an amazing relationship. Now, just because I have opened up all of these things and I understand how I'm creating my own reality, right? It doesn't mean that there's never bumps in the road. It doesn't mean that I never have a dense emotion or sadness or anger or frustration, right? That's not the message, right? This isn't a message of like bypassing and, hey, look over here, let's pretend like everything's perfect. No, right? We came here, every single one of us, and if this message is resonating with you, give me a yes, right? We came here as multidimensional beings to have a particular human experience, right? We came here by choice, and we came here to learn. We came here to create. Some of us came here specifically for our own evolution and to help create and anchor in a new paradigm, like a new frequency, right? So what if you could look at 2020 as the year that like so much light flooded into the planet that everything that couldn't exist in the high frequency place that we're going to began to be revealed, right? It's like a giant spotlight got put onto the collective consciousness of Earth and started lighting up all of the aspects that were dense, shadowy, enslaving, oppressive, right? And that's why here we are in 2020 having all of these things bubbling up to the surface that are like, oh my God, does that really exist, right? Some of you have known, right? Some of us have been down it. We've been aware of what's been there for a long time. Other people are just coming awake to what, like the levels of corruption and all of the different things that are being revealed right now, right? But that's not what this is about, right? All of that is a win. I am celebrating the fact that there is a giant spotlight being shown on all of the things that were not as we thought that they were. All of the places of shadow and darkness. Because to me, the message that came through the other day from my guides and the beings that I channel is that it's only possible that all this is being revealed because there is so much light on the planet. If all of this light wasn't on the planet, all of these things that are being shaken up and shaken out, we wouldn't be able to see them. They'd still be hiding in the shadows. Things would just be going on as usual, right? So it's a good thing we're seeing it, because to get where we're going, we have to do that house cleaning, right? We have to clean out that closet. So the next piece of that, the personal layer of that, right? How can we, so great, right? You love what I'm saying, it resonates, but how can you personally support this process and play in this? Let's talk about that. Right? The way we personally play in this process is by beginning to look at our stories about things, right? Looking at the story, because we got stories about air. Oh, we got stories for days. Give me a yes if you know you got stories. Right? And give me a yes if you know your stories have not always been accurate, right? That sometimes you've been telling yourself a story about what somebody said or what somebody meant, and maybe you didn't quite have it correct, right? Maybe you were misperceiving it. Somebody walks by you and they don't say hi, and you got a story about why they're mad at you or why they must hate you, right? Or you don't get that job and you got a story about why you're not good enough. You go on a date, it doesn't work out, and you got a story about how there's never going to be anybody to love you, right? Does anybody relate with that? Anybody out there? Or is it just me? Am I the only one? The kicker is that a lot of these stories, hey Lauren, right? So many of these stories run underneath the surface. And here's the crazy thing, right? We think thousands of thoughts a day. Thousands. Most of them are repetitive, right? Suman, feeling it? Most of these are repetitive. So it's essentially like you've got these thoughts that you're just thinking over and over and over and over and over again, and they're just rutting you in, creating a nice groove here, right? And then we wonder, well, how do we change our stories, right? And the first step is by becoming aware of the stories, right? We have to know which stories we're telling ourselves. But here's the kicker, right? If you are trying to manifest something, if you are trying to create something, if you are trying to call something into your life and it is not showing up, chances are you have a story, very subconscious, about why it's not showing up, right? Let's use money, for example. Relationships, either one, take your pick. Okay, I'd really like to make more money. Maybe I read a book and it starts to give me a little bit of an empowered mindset around money. But I grew up seeing all these experiences with money, learning that money's hard to get, or it's not safe, or money's only for rich people, like all of these stories. Has anybody ever told themselves a story about money? Raise your hand, right? I had all the stories about money. I thought for the longest time, I was telling myself a story about money that people with money were douchey, right? People who have money suck. They don't care about the environment. They're greedy. They're selfish. So why then, if I had all these stories about what it meant to have money, would I ever allow myself to have money? Well, the answer was I wouldn't, and I wasn't allowing myself to have money, right? I wouldn't let it flow in because I didn't perceive that it was safe. I was afraid that if I let it flow in, I was going to become someone that I didn't like. Okay, right? We have stories about love and relation. Oh, well, if I let somebody in, they're going to hurt me. My God, right? Like these stories are exhausting. And with, yes, right, Nicola? Okay, good. Kelsey, yeah. So these stories, like all they do is anchor us into lower timeline versions of ourselves, right? And then if we're doing stuff like mindset work and empowerment work and affirmations, we're basically creating like a giant push-pull. And there's a lot of that happening collectively right now, right? So many of us are here to help anchor in frequencies to help create not just our own reality the way that we want to be living, but also helping to create and hold and anchor in the new earth frequency, right? The whole process of creation happens first on an energetic and a vibrational level. It happens on a mental level. It happens on a frequency level, right? So and everything is microcosm, macrocosm, right? It's just patterns playing out over and over and over again. So on the microcosmic level, internally, when we want to create a shift in our lives, the first step is becoming a vibrational match of that thing, being that thing, being aligned with that thing we want to create, right? And then we learn to think in alignment with that frequency, and then we begin to act in alignment with that frequency. And then if we have certainty and trust in knowing, that becomes our reality. Sounds simple enough, right? So why then isn't everybody just creating the reality that they want? Well, it's because we've all been instilled with so much doubt, right? Doubt. What if it doesn't work? Oh, it's probably possible for other people, but not for me. Has anybody ever told themselves those stories? Right? So many stories that suck. That is the matrix grid, right? That's the slave grid. That's the control grid, right? We've been living in an illusion that we're very free when we're not exactly free, right? It's like we're given just enough to believe that we're free, But really, there's all these limits because there's all these limiting thoughts and anchors to our past selves and past timeline selves and all these stories that keep us controllable, right? And so the scariest thing to the status quo, if you will, is all of us individually coming into the realization of our own fucking power as creators, right? And being able to hold the frequency of the knowing of our power as creators. Knowing that because we exist beyond this physical body, we are infinite, that we are also safe at all times, right? Fear is a very palpable and alluring narrative that is being used to manipulate us, right? But again, it's all in line with stories, right? So today's message, this transmission, this training is really about understanding and beginning to open yourself up to a new level of story. A story that at first is gonna feel very, maybe far-fetched, maybe steeped in fantasy, but what if, right? So my guides, who I've been working a lot with, work a lot through frequency and energy and vibration. And they've been teaching me a lot about how much we actually affect each other. Yes, you and I are not face-to-face right now. Some of you are even going to be hearing this as a replay. However, beyond physicality, where there are no limits and bounds of time and space, there's energy and frequency, right? On the quantum, there's no distance. This is why like quantum physicists and quantum scientists are studying this, right? So on a frequency quantum level, you are being affected. You are receiving, you are being expanded, you are being activated by this transmission. On a subatomic level, the very building blocks of what makes you up as a body, as a soul, as a being, your subatomic particles are being activated and triggered into a new state of frequency and energy because you're receiving this message and you're saying, well, what if? Maybe she is right. Maybe you're saying yes. Right? And that's where it all begins. And so the next piece of that is, are you willing to begin to consciously open up your mind and your imagination and your third eye and let yourself begin to play in the realms of imagination? Right? Because that's how we're going to create a new earth, right? We're not going to create a new earth by fighting with people who think differently than us. We're not going to create a new earth by projecting our fears onto people who think differently, by judging, right? We're going to create a new earth by anchoring so deeply into the light and the love that is in our heart center, bringing up any density that needs to be purged and or any lower density vibrations that are ready to go from within our body, right? By taking radical responsibility for what we're creating, by claiming ownership of our experience. And I get not everybody's going to be ready to do that, and that's okay too, right? But for those of you that are, I know specifically that there are 8 humans that are very ready to come and begin to do the work of anchoring in the frequencies of New Earth, which are directly connected to using our imaginations and working with our Imaginatrix guides and unlocking the full Imaginatrix codex, which is a higher frequency quantum code in our light bodies that as it activates, we expand more into our ability as quantum creators, quantum healers, right? Holders of frequency, holders of a brand new way of living, right? Yeah, Coral, there's a lot of stuff triggering fears with past stuff. trauma is being triggered right now. Like, let me just speak to that real quick. Let's go there, right? Trauma is being triggered right now. Absolutely. However, it is nobody else's responsibility to wear anyone else's trauma. It's our responsibility to heal our own trauma, right? It's another thing we have stories about. Oh, I have this trauma, so everybody should fold themselves into little knots so they don't trigger my trauma. Let me just buffer the world around me so my trauma doesn't get triggered. Like, no, your trauma is being triggered for the opportunity to heal it. Stop telling yourself you're not capable or powerful enough. It's another story, right? We've been told these stories about how weak and damaged and broken we are, and oh my God, and don't feel any emotions, and don't get triggered. Like, no, get triggered. It's the best thing that could fucking happen. Right? And it's like each of us has a choice. We have to choose. I'm not here to convince anybody, but I am here to guide the ones who know that they're part of this, right? That are ready to be part of it. And a big piece of this journey is moving into unlocking, like I said, right? That Imaginatrix Codex, reconnecting with your Imaginatrix guide. So every single one of us who has come here as a creator, that has come here as a starseed, a multidimensional being, right? You have a guide. You had a guide assigned to you at birth called an Imaginatrix. These Imaginatrixes are multidimensional beings. They're a group of beings that support us creators in staying on our soul missions, right? Now, what happens is as we go through life in humanity, we come through the veil, we forget, right? It gets programmed out of us. We lose sight of them. We forget who they are. We get told they're not real. So we stop listening and we start doubting them, right? It's like Drop Dead Fred. Does everybody remember Drop Dead Fred? Right? She had the imaginary friend, and then it's like he was fading because she was growing up, and right? And he couldn't talk to her anymore. It's like that, okay? So what if I told you the guides that surrounded you when you were kids, that the adults were telling you were imaginary, were absolutely real? They were just existing on another dimension, on another plane. And some of them were there to help guide you and keep you on your soul path, right? But trust and believe, part of our soul path is forgetting that so we could come back to it now, right? And now is the time, right? And so these beings are here ready to support us, ready to help us move back into our powers as creators, right? We're not victims. None of you are victims, right? We're not victims. If you're telling yourself you're a victim, that's a story. I thought I was for a long time, so I get it. And I get it if you're not ready to move out of it. That's okay. I'm not here for you, right? If you are ready to know fully how fucking powerful you are, then I am here for you. I do want to talk to you, right? And I have something to share with you because I already started channeling in pieces of the Imaginatrix Codex to start being shared with the public. And so I have an activation that I would love to invite you to receive. If this conversation speaks to you, I have a gift for you. And it is the first part of the Imaginatrix Codex activation. I recorded it in. There's visual activators. It's a thing you're going to watch and listen to. And I'll drop the link to share that for you. Give me a heart or a yes. Let me know in the comments if you would like to receive that activation. And I'll send you the link to it when we're done here, right? Yeah, beautiful. Biotechnology, quantum technology. We are so supported, right? That's cool. I'll have to check that out because yes, right? There is, that's like a whole nother topic for a whole nother conversation, right? All of the things that are affecting our physical body. However, our physical body is also a very, very powerful, intelligent quantum technology itself, right? This physical body is so powerful. And again, more stories. What have we been told? Oh, it's like so weak. We have to protect it, right? We have to protect it. It's so weak. Medicine has us believing like, why? And I'm not saying you never need a medication, right? I know sometimes we need medications. I'm not anti-medicine. But I am for letting our body do what it knows how to do, right? I am for learning to tell ourselves stories about what the body is actually capable of. Like, I've been channeling Nikola Tesla, and it's been really fun. And he, the magical being that he is, the magical intelligence that he is, has been sharing some things with me about what is actually capable, the body is actually capable of when we understand frequency and vibration and we understand how to work with the nervous system. And we're in a process, all of us are in a process of receiving and unlocking more and more of that, right? More and more of that. We're coming back into knowing, we're remembering, we're reawakening to, because here's the thing about the quantum field. It is full of information. It is full of beings. It is full of technology. It is full of vibration. It is full of frequency. It is full of particles. And if you want the information, it is there to be tapped into. You just have to remember that you can do that. You just have to remember, yeah, right? And so everything I want to leave you all with is to ask you, are the stories you're telling yourself expanding you or contracting you? And I love when I say I'm channeling Tesla, people drop off. It's like people are like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. She's crazy. It's cool. Bye. Love you. So, yes, are your stories expanding you or contracting you? Do your stories suck or do your stories excite you? Tell me in the comments right now, right? Are you telling yourself stories that suck or do your stories excite you? Like, are you telling yourself things like you can have anything, you can be anything, you're abundant, you're worthy, you're powerful, you're healthy, your perfect partner is out there, you can have your dream house, you can have whatever car you want, you can have all the freedom you want, you are healthy, you're safe, you're protected, you're worthy? Or are you running around telling yourself stories? And it's okay if you are, right? Because we all have them. My own personal work in coming into success had a lot. I didn't have so much with my health, but mine was really around money. I had all kind of stories. Oh, good, Carl. Thank you. Both. Yes, Kelsey. Yes, both. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Becoming limitless. Awesome, Connie. Right? Both. That's the push-pull. Right? The push-pull is telling ourselves both stories, right? We're telling ourselves one with the conscious mind. Yes, I can be, do, have anything. And then there's the subconscious bubbling up all of those limiting stories and beliefs. And here's the thing, right? We don't want to hate on our stories that suck. I'm saying they suck, but I'm joking, like with love, right? We don't want to hate on them because up until now they've served us, right? They've kept us safe. We want to love them and we want to just decide to stop telling ourselves them. And then we want to take the journey of learning how to tell yourself new stories, how to consciously use your imagination to create new stories and anchor them into your subconscious, right? Because the moment your new stories get anchored into your subconscious mind, that's the moment you let yourself have the things. And here's the kicker, right? Worry. If you are a worrywart or you have anxiety, if you are a worrier or you have an anxiety, you're already, hey Tommy, right? You're already using your imagination. You're just using it unconsciously, right? Worry is the ego being in control of your imagination. Oh, that is fucking gold. Thank you. Worry is the ego being in control of your imagination. Running amok, living in the future, creating scenarios that are never going to happen. And if they do, you'll be all right. And you'll be able to handle it. But that ego just wants to keep you safe, so it hijacks the imagination and uses it for worry. Because when we're younger, we get told, just like in the never-ending story, we get told that our imagination isn't safe, right? So that imagination energy, that beautiful intelligence, imagination is a technology of its own. It needs an outlet. So what does it do? Oh my God, this is like the first time this is coming through. The ego hijacks the imagination and uses it in a way it deems safe, which is anxiety and worry and control. Now is the time for us to take it back. Like, are any of you tired of worrying and being anxious and limiting yourself? Because that shit gets old, right? Yeah. Because it is, we can't control any of it. And so as we can start moving into unlocking, opening, reactivating, and realigning with the quantum technology that is our imagination, that is how we are going to create the new world that we want to be living in. Here's the beautiful thing, and I'm going to end it with this. From where I stand and from what I watch, I have a unique perspective. Right? And I understand that everybody, most people on both sides of the divide right now, whether you're blue, whether you're red, whether you're B, whether you're T, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Everybody, we want the same things, right? Everybody just wants safety, security, peace. They want to live the way that they want to live. They want to love who they want to love. That is most people. Right? I can see that from the perspective where I sit. But I also know that it's very easy to get pulled into the narratives and the stories about who they are on the other side and how dangerous they are. It's not, right? Everybody wants the same things. And so I, on a soul level, on a heart level, on a human level, am directly committed to anchoring in the frequency that is going to allow us to heal the divide and come back together and remember that every single one of us is a beautiful multidimensional being who is here having a human experience. We're all here to have different experiences, but at our core, we are light. And that is the way I choose to look at my fellow humans, right? Even if I think they're being manipulated, even if I don't agree with their choices, it's not my fucking business what they choose, right? I am focusing on the bigger picture, not what is crumbling around us right now, right? Because I know the potentiality, because I have visited it on the quantum, and there is the potentiality of a beautiful fifth dimensional new earth timeline that we are getting to anchor in. When, as all of this stuff crumbles, we get to anchor in the frequencies of love, compassion, union, joy, abundance for all, right? And I'm going to do that by working with this Imaginatrix Codex, activating, working with my guides, and sharing this message with the ones that are ready, right? And I'm going to share that gift of the first Imaginatrix Codex with you all today. I'll drop the link here. It's a beautiful activation. And I'll be inviting, there are 8 of you out there somewhere, whether you're receiving this or making your way to me now. I know that there are 8 of you out there that are meant to come and join me in the full Imaginatrix container, because you're meant to be pillars of the Imaginatrix Codex here on Earth, to learn how to use stories and lead others through frequency to welcoming in the new Earth 5th dimensional timeline. And I couldn't be more fucking excited about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go dream that into existence and be connecting with you all on the quantum. I'm sending you all so much love. I'm going to come back and drop that link for you all that are interested. I look forward to seeing you all soon. I would love, love, love to hear whether you were here live on the replay. Share with me something. What did you learn? What was activated in you? What are you feeling? What is your takeaway? I love, love, love. That's one of my love languages. When we do these lives and we share energy and we share frequency, I love, like, you guys, the hearts. Thank you. I love seeing the hearts. I love seeing your comments. I come back and I read all your comments because I love the exchange. It's how we start to connect, right? We are connected already, and some of you are going to be part of this soul mission of Imaginatrix, and I feel that deeply. So I love you all. If this benefited, share it with a friend, tag a friend, share it if you feel called. So much love. I love that, Emily. Back at you, reflecting right back at you. And that's powerful because it's like, you guys, whatever is being activated in you that you're perceiving is over here, I'm the mirror for you. I'm the mirror for all of your potentials. And I love you all for it. Hope. Oh, yes. Success. That my mission is accomplished. We've activated love and hope at the very minimum, so that is the best. Yes, Kelsey, change your stories to the one. How about to the ones that feel good? Let's flip that whole thing to the positive. Change my stories to the ones that expand me. And you're going to love the activation I'm sharing with you all. All right, I love you all. I will see you soon. Thank you for the beautiful exchange. Go forth, go out in the world, be wildly you, have it all, and shine your lights. Bye.